Hey friends, and welcome back to my channel. Chrissy Explains It All. We definitely got a lot to talk about this week. This was a jam-packed week with Housewives. We have added Salt Lake City back into the mix of things to talk about. So tonight was like an extra special night. I was so excited. We first got Potomac, and then we got the premiere of Salt Lake City. So let's go ahead and jump into the explanation right now. Got to start by talking about Real Housewives of Potomac tonight. This was a pretty good episode, I will say. I was entertained by it. The name of this episode was called Goddesses of War, or Goddesses at War. I'm just gonna tell you right now, it was some devils in the mix. It was definitely some devils in the mix, honey. And we're not gonna name the devils, but we know who the devils tend to be, because the devil be busy. So we start right back off where we left off last week, still at Robin's dinner party. This is the birthday party that Giselle organized for Robin, of course. She turned 42, if you believe it or not. So the ladies are sitting at dinner, and if you remember last week when we left off, we got just a little snippet of Candiace and Ashley getting into it as they usually do. But this week that was kind of wrapped up a little bit. So we are right back at the table. We right back in the mix, right back in the drama. Candiace has called Ashley a wide body. And so of course, you know, Ashley is upset about this, as she always is. She tends to get upset, which I say she always bothered by things that Candiace say, although she will act as though she is not bothered. She is bothered. But she is upset, so you know, she snaps back at Candiace. They get into it. At some point, you know, Ashley says something about well, let me back up. I will say that, you know, it kind of calmed down a little bit between the two of them. Candiace decided to apologize. She apologized quickly, and she just said, Ashley, you know, I apologize for calling you wide body. You know, my anger wasn't really necessarily, you know, directed at you. I shouldn't have body shamed you, although I didn't mean to body shame you. Which, I mean, come on now, Candiace. That don't sound good, but I think I understand where she was coming from. My girl was basically saying her intentions was not to body shame, but you got a wide body right now, you know. So I think that's what just something she thought to talk about. I'm going to defend Candiace all the time at any cost. So, you know, Ashley, in response to that, it's like, that's not body shaming. You body shame me all the time. So Candiace like, no, I don't body shame you. Don't. Well, only time I body shame you or ever talk about your body is when I talk about your big behind head. And it's real big. So Ashley, bothered by what Candiace is saying, of course, you know, she got to snap back, and she talking about, well, I talk about you and your dry hair all the time. Let's just talk about that for a minute. Now, on the blogs, on Instagram, on Twitter and everything, people were kind of really coming at Ashley, saying that this was a colorist statement. And I think as black people, we are kind of conditioned to, anytime that anybody is talking about hair or mentioning hair texture, that we go right to, oh, this person is a colorist. Because we equate, you know, good hair or moisturized hair or whatever it is with lighter skinned people, and you know, the darker skinned, brown skinned chicks, we always, you know, thought to have, you know, nappy hair, like we some nappy behind, you know, chicks or whatever. But that is not the case. But you know, people were kind of coming for Ashley, saying that her statement was colorist, of course, because she was talking to Candiace, who is a brown skinned woman. I will say, you know, I do not like Ashley, but I'm gonna give sis the benefit of the doubt about this. I really didn't take it as her, you know, being colorist or anything like that. I think she was just, you know, she needed a comeback, and so she snapped back quick, and that was something she could think about. And I honestly don't think that she, you know, even thought about what she was saying, because clearly Ashley can't talk about nobody's hair being dry. I mean, she was sitting there at the dinner table, ponytail about to catch fire with that tumbleweed she had on. I mean, speaking of right now, me and Ashley basically twins. I mean, her ponytail looked the way mine looked, dry, nappy. I mean, ethnic, did. And we not gonna act like Ashley ain't, you know, had some wash and goes that looked horrible in the past. I mean, a lot of these viewers now are jumping in now and they don't remember Ashley from season 1, 2, 3, 4. But Miss Thing used to have her curls, and them curls always needed a deep condition, sis. I mean, for real, come on. So Ashley definitely can't sit there and act like she don't need some pink lotion, you know, to help moisturize her hair. I mean, come on, sis. I mean, I was trying to keep my edges down all day. It is what it is. On the flip side of that, although, like, if you watch me, you know what it is. I'm not an Ashley fan, but I will give it to her today, because her new confessional look that they debuted was, I mean, off the chain. I loved it. I have not seen Ashley look that good in a long time. They had her hair nice and crimped. She had on a nice little dress, and you know, I thought it was cute. So moving right along, things kind of calmed down at the dinner, and Mia takes the opportunity to invite all the ladies to a goddess party, which she says is going to be like a goddess lunch, a goddess picnic, something in the park. And we kind of just like, what is that, you know? But she says that everyone is invited, including Karen and Wendy, who are missing from the dinner. And she just kind of goes ahead and lets her know that those two will be in attendance. And she also tells Giselle, you know, hey, Miss Karen is expecting an apology from you, you know. So if you could just, you know, find it in your heart to apologize to Miss Karen about the death comment that you said about Ray. And then Giselle's like, you know, her little silly self, ignorant still. I mean, she go on to say that Karen isn't getting an apology and she'll be dead before she give her one. Brood. I mean, just tacky. I mean, at this point we got to just stop talking about death. I mean, I'm gonna say this: your tongue is a powerful thing, and you never want to wish death upon anybody. I don't play like stuff like that. I'm never gonna sit here and wish death upon anybody. Not to say she wishing death on her or Ray, but let's be careful with that word. Seriously, for real, because I'm trying to live out here. Let's move right along and talk about the grand dame. The grand dame. I'm sorry, the grand dame, Miss Karen. So, y'all, I have to say it again. I love Karen, but sis ain't got no kind of storyline this season. We get a scene of her basically starting to fulfill her duties as the ambassador of Surry County. So she goes out there to a park. She did not go to Surry County. She filmed an infomercial that she was supposed to be doing about Surry County. She filmed it in Potomac. Come on now. But you know them producers was going to let us know, hey, this is not Surry County. Because they put it up on the screen, not Surry County. And then producers even asked her, like, why are you filming your video, you know, in Potomac when it's supposed to be about Surry? So, you know, Karen, she always going to give us some kind of, you know, BS answer. So she's like, oh, well, I am from Surry. That is my hometown. And wherever I am, Surry is always within me. You know, something crazy. Come on now, sis. But this video was so pathetic. I mean, you know, the cousin came out there to meet her. I'm convinced she only got like one cousin. This same cousin keep on showing up. A representative from Surry came, and the lady was kind of like directing her, giving her some directions. And Karen starts saying her little spiel about Surry, and you should come visit Surry County, and the peanuts here are wonderful, and the ham is wonderful, and the peanuts, they come in holes. What? Girl, you mean to tell me them peanuts got shells on them? Oh no, Miss Karen. I thought they came just like how they come in the Planters canister. I did not know that the peanuts had shells. I mean, gosh, I really need to go to that Surry and get me some peanuts with the holes, you know, with the shells on them. Come on now. So speaking of peanuts, let's move right along to the peanut gallery. We get a scene with Giselle. And I have to say, I'm not a fan of Giselle. I was a fan of Giselle like in the very beginning, like in the earlier seasons. I really liked her. I really think that she has a lot of personality. She's a fun girl. It's obvious why she is, you know, considered the star of this show. Because she does have charisma. However, I really feel like over the years she has become such a mean girl, and I just don't like that. I don't like stuff like that. I don't like all this meanness. But I have to say that when we get the scenes with her and her daughters, that it just humanizes her, and we really get to see a softer side of Giselle. So I really did enjoy this scene that we got with Giselle this week, and her twins and her oldest daughter Grace. She calls them into what seemed to be her bedroom. And let me just say this, I mean, she thinks she the mom.com, and she was so, you know, proud of this house and everything. But girl, I mean, the room was bare. I mean, it was bare. I know that you made this big deal about this Versace comforter, and I'm going to assume that the, you know, furniture, like the dresser and stuff, was Versace as well. But let me just say, always be, just because it's designer don't mean that you know that it's good, that it's classy, that it's cute, because it ain't. She needs help in a lot of aspects. Miss Thing just don't have no taste. Ugh. But anyway, they sitting in this dreadful bedroom, and they have a conversation about relationships. And Giselle, you know, she talks about how her older daughter Grace is getting ready, you know, to in the next couple of years to grow and be out of the house. And she talks about how she just wants for her daughters to be kind of independent in a sense. This is what I took from the conversation. She wants them to be independent. She doesn't want them to have to depend on a man. She talked about how, you know, her mother and her father got divorced, and then her mom was left to kind of fend for herself and figure things out. And she also said that that was the case when her and Jamal split, that, you know, she was terrified, you know, of the next steps. So I do think that, you know, Miss Giselle don't always give the best advice, but I think she did give some good advice to her daughters as far as telling them what she wants for them. She wants the best for them. She doesn't want them to be put in certain situations, and, you know, she wants them to be some independent women and not have to depend on no man. And I hear that, you know. We go to Candiace and Chris, and we walk right through the front door with Candiace, and Chris is in there looking stressed, honey. I mean, it's 4 o'clock. But it had to be 5 o'clock somewhere, because Chris done poured him a stiff drink. So Chris is saying he's stressed, honey. He is stressed. I think Candiace need to get her a manager. She needs to get her a real manager. And let Chris, you know, focus on what he needs to do, which is put food on the table. Literally. But Candiace, get you a manager. And while you getting a manager, you need to get you one that's gonna get you like an endorsement deal out here. Because sis, the way that you pull out that tissue, you know, she pulled it out right on when her and Chris was having the conversation, and she took that little corner and that origami, and she dabbed it right in the corner of her eye. Sis, come on now, get you a manager, somebody who's gonna get you a deal out here. You need to be like a spokesperson. Like, I want to go buy a box of Kleenex, you know, and Candiace just be on the box, you know, like Candiace tissue. That's what I want. That's what you need. You need somebody who's going to be out here and be hustling and making you some money, sis. And Chris cannot do that. So let's move right along. We go to the Osetho house, and Wendy and Edris are, you know, outside. They are having some quality time with their family, and the kids are outside playing. I would say this. I feel like these conversations are so necessary. But I feel like, of course, I feel like it was scripted. Like, Bravo probably pushed them to do this. But the big thing was that they wanted to have the talk with their kids. That dreaded talk that we as, you know, black parents, as black people have to have. I think they handled it really well. I really like this scene. Their kids are so cute. I think they have the most beautiful kids. I did see this past weekend that they let their kids participate in the New York Fashion Week, and they did a really good job. I'm so impressed by their older son. I feel like, you know, he's so cute. I could just eat him up. He is so well spoken and well mannered. But anyway, they have the conversation, you know, about what it means to be black in America and how you have to act and what to expect and what to do. And like I said, I'm a parent myself, and I know this conversation, especially with me having a black son, that I'm going to have. My son is only 3 years old, so we're not quite there yet. But I would imagine it's just so hard right now to be a parent and have to have this conversation, because when we were growing up, you know, we had the conversations. Our parents taught us things, let us know things, but it wasn't like, it didn't seem like it was in our face like the way it is right now. Because when we were growing up and we were learning about what it meant to be black, we didn't have all this Black Lives Matter. It wasn't all this, I mean, it was out there, but it wasn't in our face. We wasn't seeing the videos. We weren't seeing the evidence. It wasn't, you know, no George Floyd on camera. It wasn't no Trayvon Martin. It wasn't, you know, I could go on and on naming people names, but I'm not going to do that right now. But the conversation was good. I think that their children really handled it well, and they did a very good job speaking to their kids about it. And the little boy was so cute. At the end of the conversation, he just said, you know, what if I grow up and I want to be a person like Martin Luther King, and I, you know, want to make sure that everyone is, black people and white people, they are treated equally. Baby, I hope you do that. That was so cute. I mean, that was a proud moment. So, moving right along, we get a scene. Ashley and Karen are going to meet up. When did these two like become friends like this? I don't think they friends like this, but to be meeting up. But anywho, Karen and Ashley going to meet up, and Karen goes inside the place, and she sit down and she order her cup of tea. And then Ashley is outside, and you see her getting, when she got out that car and she was being slow getting out that car, I knew what it was. She brought that baby with her, and she was getting him out, getting the stroller out, getting the car seat out, putting the car seat on the base, wheeling the baby in. Then she get there talking to Karen, and she got to go about breastfeeding. Pull her you know, I was going to say something. Pulls her boob right out, right there, and starts to breastfeed. Why? I mean, I could only think about when she brought Dean to lunch with Candiace, like, you know, last season or whatever, and she was pushing the baby carriage and was like, you know, couldn't hardly get through the aisle in the restaurant trying to meet up with Candiace. So I'm like, why is she bringing this baby? I mean, girl, you are working. But okay. So anywho, they have a conversation about Giselle. Ashley trying to be the bridge over the troubled water between Giselle and Karen, and trying to be a peacemaker of some sort. She's kind of trying to push Karen up to, you know, apologize to Giselle, saying that Giselle is hurt and blah blah blah. And Karen just like, Karen ain't having it. Karen is not interested in apologizing to Giselle at all. And I told you before, this is just what I hate about this group. They always so focused on somebody apologizing. If you do something to me and, you know, and you don't apologize, that's on you. You ain't got to apologize. I'm not going to force you to apologize, and ain't nobody else got to force you to apologize. Because if you can't give me a good apology and mean it on your own without force, I don't want it. But this group always does it. I want an apology. And then they huff and they puff until they get the apology. Get over it. I mean, y'all some grown women. So we get a glimpse at the other green-eyed monster. And she's sitting over there talking to her life coach, which she clearly needs because she can't get out the bed. She goes over there. She had this session with her life coach, and the life coach is asking her all these different questions. She talks about how, you know, she has her headline and that it started to blow up. Is anybody buying them hats? Like, really? Is Robin really selling out them hats? You know, to be this, you know, just to be this lazy, you know, in the bed all day. But anywho, we ain't talking about that. So, you know, she talking to the life coach, and the life coach asks her so many questions, and she mentions her fiance, which every time she said my fiance, I was just like, oh my god, like cringing, like, girl, you are too old to be calling this man your fiance, because he is not even your fiance. He is your ex-husband, and furthermore than that, he is your roommate. Robin and Juan, they not getting married. I mean, the lady even says fiance. Oh, are you planning a wedding? And Robin just, no wedding, no wedding plans. Girl, why? Because that man ain't gonna marry you. Juan and Robin are splitting bills, and that's all they doing. They splitting bills. I just saw that they went and bought a new house, because she posted on Instagram that they are new homeowners, and they finally got out their townhouse. Seem as though before you bought the new house, like you said last year on the season, that before y'all went into buying a new house that y'all would be married, and that was important to you. However, obviously it ain't, because you ain't planning the wedding, and this wedding seems as though it's not going to happen. But you is a fool, a clear fool, to move into this house, put your name on a loan, a shared loan with this man, and sign on the dotted line talking about y'all homeowners together, co-owners of the home, and the man can't even marry you. Because let's be clear, it's Juan who's not interested. It's not Robin. Robin would probably give anything right about now to go down, you know, walk down the aisle and be married again to Juan. But Juan is not interested, and it's clear. So can we talk about this goddess party? Can we please talk about this goddess party? So this was a good scene, I believe. First of all, everybody walks up. And I have to say, everyone pretty much looked beautiful. Mia and Karen were the first, you know, to be there. And then we see Wendy walk up, and Skylar walks up. And let me just say, out of the whole group, Skylar and Wendy, to me, they was the baddest ones. The baddest ones walking. Okay? They were given West African and East African princess. I mean, come on now. Both of them had like the little head pieces. I'm not sure what you call them. I think you call them like a chief's kiss or something, but it's like the thing that you put on your head and goes around like a jewel type thing. Both of them had that on, and it was so appropriate for the goddess theme. Both of them had on these beautiful dresses. Like I said, they were the two who looked the best. The rest of them, you know, and which I have to say, I have to take Candiace out the equation, because usually Candiace never misses, but sadly my girl was missing. You know, she missed. I mean, she couldn't hit it this week. I mean, she show up with some little kitty girl, little short little haircut, and it looked horrible. It was a horrible wig, the worst one I've seen on Candiace so far. I was like, girl, what are we doing? Then the dress wasn't even all that. So, you know, Giselle walks up. She don't look worth 2 cents, as always. Robin comes up. She got on some kind of prom dress. I mean, girl, that was not the assignment, honey. That was not it, boo. That ain't had nothing to do with what we was doing. Everybody else got on like these sundresses and stuff, and you come showing up in some kind of formal gown. So actually, she, you know, comes up and she don't look good. She, you know, she had on some little sundress, of course, or whatever, and I did not think it was cute. It honestly looked like she could have got it from like Ross. It looked like something that she just, you know, went through the racks and found. But she also has an accessory with her. That doggone baby. She brought the baby again. Yep. Brought the baby to the picnic to sit down there and, you know, sit Indian style and eat cucumber sandwiches with the crust cut off with the girls. She brought the baby with her. Why? I don't know. I thought that she was employing a nanny, but clearly the nanny only works for Dean, because it seemed like the nanny can only keep one child and she ain't keeping the baby. Ashley, you are working, sweetie. Filming is your job. Do not bring your child to work. We do not want to see that baby. We don't want to see you holding that baby, breastfeeding that baby. I want to see the drama between you and the ladies. Please stop bringing that child to work. Why do you have your 4-week-old baby out in the pandemic anyway? He needs to be at home. Like, seriously, girl. I mean, and don't even try to use the excuse that you breastfeed. There are a lot of women that breastfeed, and guess what? They got to go to work, and they got to, you know, work 8-9 hours a day, and they just got to pump and put their milk up until they get home. And that's what you need to do when you're working, because we don't want to see that baby. Next time, just simply stay home. So Mia is like, you know, ready to get the event started. So she's like, we gonna go around and, you know, everybody's gonna say something nice about each other. And so, you know, I was with Wendy, because Wendy was like, you know, what kind of summer camp stuff is this? And, you know, I was right with her, like, come on now. How many times we go play this little silly game? This is childish stuff that we have to say something nice about somebody. But anywho, they started right off. I believe Ashley and Candiace started with each other. And, you know, we all know that they, you know, are frenemies, clearly. But they kind of mustered up the decency to say something nice about one another. Candiace, you know, said that, you know, she was basically proud of Ashley for her going through her motherhood journey and walking firmly in that. And if you saw the little look that she gave the baby, because the baby was sitting right there, like I said, baby ain't got no business at Ashley's job anyway, but Candiace was just like, did like a little look, you know, to the baby. If you didn't see it, go back and rewind and watch, because Candiace was just looking like crazy. So Robin goes next, and she talks about Wendy, and says to Wendy that she loves the passion. Wendy, I love the passion that you have for your family. And that's it. Really, girl, you sitting there with that Donald Trump hair, and you can't say nothing better than that about Wendy? I mean, because that seemed like some BS. You love the passion she has for her family, yet, like Wendy said, you was backing up your friend who was ready to tear down that family. So, you know, they keep going around the circle, and even a scholar chimes in, and she says something nice about Karen. Just that Karen, you know, seems to be such a motherly figure and whatnot, and gives good advice, which she does. And then we get over to Gizzard. And Gizzard just refused to play nice, because she's supposed to say something nice about Karen. I mean, come on, girl. I'm like, even Candiace and Ashley played along with the game. At least you could do is just say something nice about Karen, you know. But she's like, oh, everyone knows that me and Karen are not on good terms, and we not talking, so I'm not saying nothing nice about her. Then she goes on to Wendy, and she's like, and Wendy, I guess we still not speaking either. And Wendy was like, well, you ain't reached out to me. And then so she was like, oh, well, we can talk now. So, you know, they talk, and she's like, I wasn't trying to tear down your family. You know, the only person who be trying to tear down your family, that's Karen. Coming for Karen. But, you know, Wendy's just like, okay, you know, blah, blah, blah. Giselle apologizes, which, you know, was a weak little watered down apology. But Wendy's just like, okay, you know, she accepts it. I received that. I received that. I received that. I received that. You know, that's what she kept on saying. Hopefully she know better than to trust Gizzard, you know, again. But anywho, so really then it gets into, we go back to Karen and Giselle being the issue. So Giselle's like, yeah, because Karen, you know, tore down my family and brought up all that stuff, you know, about Jamal and my girls was hurt and this and that. Candiace, my hero, she chimes in and she's like, you know what, Giselle, you know, I had a question about that. I wanted to ask you, you know, was, you know, you and Giselle, you and Jamal, you know, separating, was that, you know, because of what happened last year? And then Miss Thing just like, oh no, it wasn't, like, that wasn't new information to me. Girl, what? So Candiace like, huh? Well, why didn't you say that? It would have been a great time for you to say that last year, you know, when you was getting your behind chewed. Giselle is really mad at that binder. That's what Giselle is mad about. It's real funny though how Karen hurt her so bad with talking about, you know, rumors. Well, not even rumors, talking about truths about Jamal. Yeah, you can't see the hurt that you caused Wendy, you know, talking about rumors with her and her family. It's the same thing. What is the difference? I'm telling you, Giselle is really mad about that binder. And I don't understand why. It is clear to me that you and Jamal was trying to bamboozle everyone. And you wanted us to believe y'all was in a loving relationship. Come on now. The girls wasn't believing it. Your daddy wasn't believing it. But all of us supposed to believe it. Unfortunately, Karen apologizes to Giselle. She apologizes to her and says, you know, that she apologizes that her girls were hurt and that, you know, she was hurt by it. I really wish she wouldn't have apologized and gave Giselle the satisfaction. While all of this is going on, you know, the other green-eyed monster, she's sitting back there, you know, bouncing, doing some kind of stretch or something, bouncing like a pollywog. And the only thing, I'm like, what is she doing? But I really believe she was kind of trying to distract herself or be a distraction, because, you know, she always comes to Batman's defense. However, when it comes to Jamal, I don't think there's anything that Robin can say to really have Giselle's back on it. Because Robin even said herself that she had never seen Jamal and Giselle together. And how weird is that when your best girlfriend ain't seen you and your man together? So I think, you know, Robin was just sitting there, back there bouncing like Binya, because she didn't want to, you know, have to have Giselle back on it. So she kept quiet for once. So Karen and Giselle, you know, pretty much agree that they are going to reset. But do not think that it's the end of this feud. I really don't believe. I know they have gone back and forth since the beginning. Since the very beginning. At season 1, these chicks have been frenemies. Okay? So this is not it. But this is definitely how we left off. This is the end of the episode, that we got this closure between Giselle and Karen. So that was the episode. Tell me what you think about it. Until next time, don't do anything you're gonna have to explain, because you know your girl Chrissy explains it all. Peace.